Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Welcome in today. It is the 3rd of April. We are listing our favorite beverages. Mine's Coke Zero, just like Too Many Shoes. Granny to 13 is coffee. Callie G, Dr. Pepper. Ann Burroughs is tea. West End is tea and cola. No one's water yet. Is anyone in the house? Coke for Justice for Kylo? Hi, Sassy. How are you? Jen said tea, but I'm supposed to be on water. Hi, Stacy Proctor. Hi, Beva. Julia Slaughter, red wine. Nice. Too Many Shoes. Mary Harris, Donna Smith, Lisa Ann. Everyone's piling in now. Thank you so much for being here. Holly W. West End. All my mods. Kelly G. Jay Zolly. That's a new name. Matthew Cunningham. Sam R, hello. How's your weather over there in England? Ann Burroughs. Robin, hi. Hello, hello, everyone. Lori 626. Jenna Daly. Hello, everyone. Welcome in, Justice for Kylo. I'm glad to hear everything worked out. Hi, Julie, Brenda Sue, Gina Kane. All my mods that are in the house today, Michelle Scott, Jen in Georgia. Ginger Girls is watching her puppy who went to the dentist, but listening with us. So I appreciate that so much. We all have lives, so they come in when they can. And we have a great group of mods here. Sassy T's in the house also. Just want to say I appreciate YouTuber. Hello. Prayer Warrior. Hello. Thank you so much, mods. You do a great job. Hi, Mandy Moo. Hi, Roller Girl and Austin Shea. Well, yesterday, hi, Michelle Reed Duncan. Yesterday, a Marikari Cami. Very mystic. Hello, Sam. You've got beautiful weather again, so you got to cut that grass and now you're in pain. Got your feet up and your Netflix ready, right? Hello. So yesterday when we were on going over the exhibits, it was quite a day yesterday on the streets, wasn't it? What occurred yesterday? And I guess should just start from the beginning. Yesterday was quite a busy. Oh, we got Sprite in the house now too. Good. I've never been one much for Sprite, but I can drink diet Sprite and I love Fresca. Okay. So yesterday what happened was BHB had her court appearance. Prior to the court appearance, 1008 Stafford Court received a visit that was announced on dispatch. That was on dispatch. On dispatch, they referred to it as a criminal warrant. However, it's a subpoena. A criminal subpoena is what we were shown. Hi, Rusty Pipes, Brenda Sue. Holly W., thank you so much, and I'll get right to you. So they showed up, knock, 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 on 1008 Stafford yesterday. And it was on dispatch, so of course it traveled everywhere. And shortly after that, now imagine all of everything going on. Knock, knock, knock on the door, and you open it, and the sheriff's there. Gulp. And then, and this is all alleged entertainment purposes only. I'm theorizing, I'm speculating, I'm sharing opinions, as is my chat. Friends, we have someone else who's asking how to get a gifted membership. I know some of you said you sign up for it or click a green button or green circle. Can someone explain that real quick? Thank you, Holly, for gifting those memberships so much, for growing our family. We have our reunions on Saturdays around 1:30, we'll say Eastern time. We have a great time together. So thank you so much for giving 5 other people the option, Holly W., to join us. Hi, ICU. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. We have lots of mods in the house, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So we're going over yesterday, because yesterday kind of stirred the streets up, didn't it? So there was a knock on Stafford Court door 1008, and Sheriff's Office delivered a subpoena that CP later came online and showed a document as a subpoena, okay, to appear. And it could either be to appear or to produce documentation to BHB's next court hearing on April 16th. So gulp, gulp, right? Gulp, gulp. And after that happened, the knock, knock on the door that morning, they had to go to the courthouse for the 1 p.m. hearing. Well, apparently, and this is secondhand information that I'm relaying, some of you may know it more. Apparently, there was a little bit of an alleged throwdown in the parking lot by family members of the other side, okay? And apparently it got a little loud and people were filming it. So I'm not sure. Does that mean pressure's building? Does that mean possibly that knock on the door has people rattled, upset? I don't know. I'm speculating. I want you to form your own opinions always. Okay, so that happened yesterday. Then afterwards, CP, at some point yesterday, CP went on another channel and showed the document, told the story. He said sheriffs were here this morning. Last night we had the scanner on. Oh, do you all want me, put a 1 if you want the scanner on, a 2 if you don't. A 1 if you want me to turn on the scanner, a 2 if you do not, because I can turn it on, Sumner County Sheriff. And so what happened is, hi, Melly Cat. Hi, A Got Changed, Jersey June Bug, Roller Girl, Lisa Ann. Then what happened after that is apparently, and I didn't hear this because I don't listen to those channels. I did take one for the team and went on one the other day and captured the audio for all of you. Okay, let me turn on the scanner. Apparently, CP went on another channel and he was sharing things that very much upset AtNIght and Dog. And an update came on when we were on last night reading exhibits. We got it hot off the press. Your girl got it to you within 50 seconds, if you recall. And we listened to it, and I read it to you 3 times because it's very strong. We're going to read it again. We're going to discuss it. I've pulled up some Tennessee laws for us of what some of it could mean. And that's where we're going to go from here, is pull this apart a little bit, because yesterday was quite a day. So a lot went down yesterday. And I'm just going to turn the scanner on for you all. It takes me a second. Sorry. Goodness. 1 second. Let me tell her I'm working. Okay. And let me get on here. So that was busy. So the first thing we're going to do is Samar. That's a funny one. You guys have great one-liners lately. Hello, prayer warrior. You love listening to the scanners until you heard, hold on. CP was outside my home. Oh my gosh. I loved listening to scanners until I heard CP was outside my home. Not related to me. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You all have great one-liners lately. I can barely get through a whole show without cracking up. I want to thank Beva for also gifting 5 Crime Time Buzz memberships for our reunions on Saturdays. Welcome in to the 5 of you. Please thank Beva also for growing our fam and be at the reunion Saturdays. And thank Holly W. also if you receive one. And Mally Cat, who's gifted a Crime Time Buzz membership. We are growing, and Sebastian's army is in force, aren't we? Okay, I am turning on Sumner County Sheriff's Dispatch. And then we'll restart reading the... What I'll do is I'll stop talking if something comes over. Usually it's pretty quiet, but yesterday it was popping, wasn't it? Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and read the X update that came out yesterday. And if you have not heard it, you are in for a treat. It is something I have wanted someone to say, allegedly, in my opinion, to them for a long time. Okay? And it is said. Okay? Let me make sure you're seeing it. I always enlarge X. You don't see it yet. Oh, you do. I always enlarge X because I do have some people who do not have X who like to screenshot them. Thank you again for all of your giftings, my friends. I'm just going to take them down so we can see the document. Okay. Hi, Brown Eye Girlies. How are you? Nani McPoppins, Cinderella. Welcome, everyone. Good to see. Hi, Nicey Marie. I'm turning on the police scanner from Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the dispatch. So that's what you'll hear popping in the back if anything comes up. Hi, Pebbles. It got change. Hello, everyone. And if I haven't welcomed you personally, hi, Busy Mama, Jasper, Wanda. I'm so grateful you're here. Don't forget that at We Are Sebastian's Army at gmail.com. You can let them know you want to volunteer, get bracelets, get flyers for Sebastian's Army. You can get a whole packet. So email We Are Sebastian's Army at gmail.com and get your packet. Okay. So let's get started. This is Strong Boom. That's why I said it on the thumbnail. And when I read it for the first time in real time last night, I was going bada bing, bada boom. So here we go, my friends. And most of you have probably heard it, but it's worth it. And I've researched some of the things just for us to understand a little bit of what's meant and what's going on. For immediate release from AtNIght Private Intelligence. Hold on, I'm going to pause till we see what this is. Okay. Wouldn't that be wild if something came over about Sebastian while we had it on, right? I just feel we're getting... You can show Jacob Madison. I feel we're getting really close. You give it a CDO 144-190-459. Therefore, so Jacob Madison is going to be served at 1446, and I have it in the other. Notice how that one says served, but yesterday said warrant criminal. And I will move on. For immediate release, April 2nd, 2025. And I'll pause when we hear that because it could be about Sebastian's search. One day. You're 6-7. Saltwater, nickel line. You don't need a warrant service or not? She's completed all of hers. Warrant service. Oh. Okay. AtNIght responds to baseless claims by Chris Proudfoot regarding the $447,000 reward for missing teen Sebastian Rogers. And you saw on my thumbnail, one of my questions is, why would a parent minimize an almost $500,000 reward for their child? Okay. And one thing that I want to say is it makes no sense to me. And clearly it doesn't to Dog or AtNIght. AtNIght, and this was yesterday night, Hendersonville, Tennessee. AtNIght, in collaboration with Dog the Bounty Hunter, has issued a strong response to recent remarks made by Chris Proudfoot, the alleged stepfather. I'm assuming they mean kind of like the so-called stepfather of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Proudfoot vanished from the Proudfoot residence on February 25th, 2024. Mr. Proudfoot has publicly mocked and belittled the $447,000 reward offered for credible information leading to the recovery of his missing stepson. A reward that exists because of the failure under his roof. Boom. He has called it a joke, in quotes, a remark as outrageous as it is revolting, because people can't understand that. You want people to see a $500,000 reward when your child is missing. It's an enticement. So to belittle it and try and tell the public it's not real, sends up red flags, sends up red flags, confusion, question marks. And then they say, let it be crystal clear. So they're using Proudfoot's own words. This reward is real, active, and growing. Backed by Dwayne Dog the Bounty Hunter Chapman, AtNIght, and an expanding coalition of American citizens desperate to find a child who disappeared on Proudfoot's watch. I heard 1,000. For a man who has done nothing to advance the search. Hold on, guys. For a man who has done nothing to advance the search, Mr. Proudfoot has had no hesitation in undermining those who have given everything to it. He and his wife, Katie Proudfoot, have refused help, rejected direct offers from Dog the Bounty Hunter, lied about their cooperation, and aligned themselves with YouTube disruptors and conspiracy profiteers rather than true investigators, volunteers, or the public. Now they insult the very people searching for their son. Listen to this. Buckle up. AtNIght is actively exploring civil legal options against Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot for their defamatory conduct, willful misrepresentation, and interference with the search for Sebastian. Their repeated lies and coordinated distractions have placed legitimate efforts and the safety of the public in harm's way. This is not merely negligent. It is dangerous, and we will not tolerate it. Now, there's one, wait a minute. They added to the one I read this morning. Hold on. Every dollar of this reward represents urgency, action, and the commitment of those who refuse to let a 16-year-old boy vanish without a fight. If the Proudfoots are incapable of supporting this effort, the least they can do is refrain from spreading misinformation. Now, I read one this morning. I was on the phone with one of y'all, and they had added up here, if Sebastian was kidnapped, there could be a predator still lurking in Sumner County. So let's go back and find that one. That was what we read today. Let me see where they added that part. That was the 29th, 17 hours ago. Maybe they took it out, but we read that part today too. Let's see here if it's on here. Maybe this one, the one I was reading was yesterday's and I still had it open. Yes, here it is. Can you all let me make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing? I was reading yesterday's. They've added to it. There, you see it right here. Okay. So now you see it. This sentence right here. Darn it. Sorry, y'all. This sentence right here. If Sebastian was kidnapped, it means that a predator still lurks in the streets of Sumner County. This is not merely negligent, it is dangerous, and we will not tolerate it. Okay? Really strong message. Very strong message. Hi, Cindy. Hey, Wanda Dupree. Long time no see. Good to see you. Okay? Very, very strong message from AtNIght and Dog regarding CP and KP, actually. Hi, Linda Saffles. And it's Callie G. Hello. It gets across a very, very, very strong point, doesn't it? It certainly does, in my opinion. It gets across a very strong point. And the question that I want to ask you is that we're going to discuss is, why would a parent minimize a reward for their missing child? Why would a parent do so? Hi, Barbalua. Why would a parent do that? Okay. Well, I think the first thing that we should discuss is, what does a reward do? Right? A reward is meant to entice people to come forward with leads and information. Rewards are to spark media attention, and rewards are to solve cases. Now, if you are a parent allegedly, who is minimizing almost a $500,000 reward, which most parents with a missing child would kill to have put up for their child. If you have a parent minimizing a almost $500,000 reward, and we know that the purpose of rewards are to renew media interest, okay, to motivate individuals to call in leads, and that they help solve cases, what explanation could there be that they would be minimizing it, calling it a joke? Don't they want renewed media interest? Don't they want to motivate individuals to call in leads? Don't they want that reward to help solve the case? Well, if you're minimizing it, my opinion would say no. That's what that kind of behavior shows. Right? So just think about that. The renewed media interest, KP's barely done anything lately. She did her 1 year. But renew media interest, and we know America's Most Wanted's coming up, or motivate people to call in leads. Why wouldn't you want leads called in for your missing child? It's suspect, right? In my opinion. Why wouldn't you want to help solve the case? Because those are the things that a reward will do. And I think it's very, very telling that someone's doing, a parent, let alone step parent or a parent or whomever related to a child, anyone related to a child who is missing. Okay. it doesn't make sense. And I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is causing a lot of red flags. And if it's not, it should be, right? And I'm glad Dog and AtNIght have finally called it out because it's been going on for quite a while. Okay. Quite a while. So let me share something with you that I found. One second. I found a page. Ooh. One moment. Come on. Oh, here we go. I'm going to share something with you that I saw.
Can you hear me? We're going to have to winch the car out. Any information you can give me, be great help. Rescue 41's there. We're trying to winch it out now. Yeah.
Hey, look what I found. Offering a reward in a missing person case. Learn why cash rewards in missing persons cases can do more harm than good by PI Steve Fisher explains how rewards attract scammers, right? So you hire a PI with your same thinking. Here's a PI. Okay, instead of looking at the benefit, he's got a whole page focused on why rewards attract scammers. And, people will call in false leads, but that shouldn't be the focus. The focus should be on the fact that rewards renew media interest. Rewards motivate some people to call in leads. Even though you get scammers, you're going to get that one call, that one person, right? That one call, that one person. And that helps solve cases. But remember, this is the PI who was aligned to the case. And by the way, he also made a recent post on X saying, or since he put his page back up, and he says these are missing cases that need attention, and it's Hal and Layla, but he also mentioned Sebastian. So, but I just wanted you to see, Moo. Office of Juvenile. So even though there's controversy on rewards and, will they cause more leads and clog up phone lines? There is so much benefit to rewards because you always want to do everything you can. Okay, so when I look up here, let me put my cursor on it for you. It's the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquent Prevention. Okay, so when your child is missing, and they talk about it's hard to assess the true value of a reward in recovering missing child because it renews media interest in reporting on the missing child, or might be the thing that solves the case. So why would a stepfather, minimize the reward for a missing child? Why? Why would the father minimize a reward for a missing child? It's strange. It's odd. And we're going to keep going regarding that update because there's other things I want to share with you. And we're going to get into the litigation part too. Hold on one second. I've got something pulled up for you that I want to share with you. Okay. Full misrepresentation. Okay. Here is the Tennessee law. And I'm bringing that up because that is one of the things that AtNIght and Dog are exploring is willful. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. Can you all hear me? Give me a 1. Sorry about that. It kicked me out. My whole computer shut down. Whew. Are you guys still there? Are you still there? I'm here now. Okay, good. Sorry, it kicked me out, my friends. I don't know why, but okay. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you so much for hanging. Thank you so much for hanging in there. Hold on, there's 2 StreamYards open right now, so I'm going to close one. Very strange. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jenny Mount, and everyone for sticking with me. That was crazy. It just shut down. So we're going to discuss Tennessee code for willful misconduct and misrepresentation. Somehow you're seeing it, so let me make sure you're seeing what I want you to see here. My computer, that was weird. It's very strange. It's not sharing with you, so let me stop. Let me present, share the screen again.
What hospital do man transporting patient to?
There we go. Okay. So Tennessee code. Oh, this is Will's. This isn't what I had pulled up. Hold on. That is not what I had pulled up. 1 second. Got to get myself back in my game here, huh? One moment, my friends. Sorry, everyone. Oh, my computer's doing something again. Okay, hold on. I don't know what's happened. I wonder if it's StreamYard because I've got great Wi-Fi right now. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this with you. We're going to try and get it on here. Oh, I'm getting worried because it's blinking on me, y'all. Thank you, Kelly G. Hi, DBDO Cat Mama. Yes, Sebastian needs our prayers. He needs our thoughts. We need to bring him home. Okay. I want to show something to you. Okay. I am not kidding you. My computer's like got a mind of its own right now. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Purposely failing to be truthful. Willful misrepresentation. Willful misrepresentation, and that's what Dog and AtNIght are exploring as far as civil litigation against the Proudfoots. One of the things, willful misrepresentation is an act of purposely failing to be truthful. It involves knowingly taking or admitting to take an action that constitutes a breach of a representation or warranty with the intent of misleading the party to whom such representation or warranty was made. It does not require an intent to deceive nor evidence that the officer believes or acted upon the false representation. Fraud involves obtaining something of value through willful misrepresentation. Find the element of willfulness. The officer must determine that the person had knowledge of the falsity of the misrepresentation. It's an intentional, willful misrepresentation is intentionally misleading, intentionally leading without the truth. And it is the right of every person to be able to be represented properly, especially a child in a missing person's case. Okay. So you absolutely, you have a right. And as a matter of fact, let me share that with you. Let me see if I could get that for you. It's a person's right. And when someone takes away your civil right, your personal right, revocation, and it's also used in wills too, by the way, revocation. Okay. So we are going to go to missing in Tennessee. I hope all my tabs are still open. Hold on. I hope all my tabs are still open. That kind of threw me off for a second, friends. So hold on. Let me get back into my groove here. Hi, NJs. Okay, we are getting into, let me see where it is. I'm trying to find missing in Tennessee. Hold on. This is interesting, by the way. Let me make sure you all can see this. Okay, I found this very interesting. What to do if your child goes missing in Tennessee. And I'm just bringing this up because I think it's interesting. First of all, let's stop before we go on. If indeed there is grounds for litigation for the misrepresentation of information willfully, for affecting the search, correct? For defamation, I hope they do go for it. I hope they pursue it if it won't affect justice for Sebastian, right? And they won't do anything that will affect justice for Sebastian, right? So I hope they do pursue it. I do hope that anything like this is pursued, right? Because we need to get this stopped. It's ridiculous. We've been reading that 200-page document, 100 now page document and exhibits about what a judge is going to have to read after warnings, cease and desist, the RICO, all of this. All of these things going to court, Bullhorn Betty going to court, being accused of things, all of this occurring that has nothing to do with finding Sebastian, but everything to do with, allegedly, in my opinion, stopping finding Sebastian. But this needs to happen. So that's why I hope they pursue this litigation, because that, I think, is a very important piece. Do you remember when Peter Hyatt said, allegedly, KP is the key? Rest in peace, Peter Hyatt. When he said the key is KP, right? Well, think about that. If the key is KP, then that's who, how do I say it? If the key is KP, then that's exactly where I think that, I don't want to say it. Okay. But anyway, what we're talking about here is if the key is KP and CP are causing issues and you address that and take those issues out of there, I'm assuming and hoping and alluding that all the nonsense will stop. That's what I'm going to say. Okay. In my opinion. Okay. And Peter Hyatt, rest in peace, believes KP is the key. Peter Hyatt said KP is the key to this because she was the last one to see him. He has a video on it. We've shared it. I've shared it on some of my lives. Maybe we'll go back through Peter Hyatt's stuff because he has such great information on the Sebastian Rogers case. And we've gone over several of his videos, but maybe we go back over because we pick up a little bit of nuggets in each thing we do, right? So what are you supposed to do if a child goes missing in Tennessee? Let's see if what this document recommends is what is happening. So what to do if your child goes missing in Tennessee. Learn the steps to take if your child goes missing in Tennessee, including reporting procedures, legal considerations, and when to seek legal advice. This was written, look at the date, recently, like the 1-year anniversary of when Sebastian was last seen, right? This was written the 1-year anniversary of when Sebastian was last seen, and this is from Tennessee. Every second counts when a child goes missing. Acting quickly and following the proper legal steps can make all the difference in ensuring a safe recovery. Understanding law enforcement procedures, alert systems, and legal implications can help families navigate this difficult situation. You all recall when Mr. and Mrs. E said, because they're local, that one of the things that they heard first off about this case was that that Sebastian was missing, but the mother and stepfather did not want their last name out there. And one of the first things early on. And I find that odd too. Hi, Ki, Jenny Machete, Sped Teacher, Forget Me Not. But I find that odd too. Hi, Sped Teacher. I find that really odd. Why would you care about your name? It's not about you, but it was about them from that very second, in my opinion. Because even when one of the first things was they didn't want their last name out. Now, I find that curious. Do you? If your child's missing, hey, CB, I hope so too. We were just talking about that and we were discussing some of the litigation, what it means and things. The willful misrepresentation. Oh, and I had pulled up. Let me see if I had pulled up the penalties. I thought I had. Oh, yeah. Tennessee law for interfering with a missing child case. I'll share that with you all next, okay? Let me write that down. Tennessee law. If you're just coming in, we talked about yesterday so far. We have the scanner running. We talked about yesterday where so much had happened yesterday that we had a sheriff showed up at the Proudfoot's home to give them a subpoena. They went to court with BHB. Allegedly, an argument erupted in the parking lot. So I wonder if pressure of having a sheriff come to the door was just unnerving, building pressure, causing CP and his family to argue. We're speculating. We have no idea. What? We have no idea. We are simply speculating. So, and a lot happened yesterday. Then the scanner's on. Thank you, NJs. If you receive a gifted Crime Time Buzz membership from NJs, thank her, and we will see you at the reunion Saturdays, and welcome in. So, forgot what I was saying because of the scanner. We have the scanner on for Sumner County Sheriff's Office. You just never know. Okay. So, I don't understand in the beginning, right off the kick, that they didn't want their last name out there. That's I don't know. That is something I've never heard before. And I find it odd that it was one of their first concerns, allegedly. I find that very odd. And if anyone in the chat has an explanation to why they think that might have happened. Okay. Thank you, Ivy League. Okay. Thank you, Ivy League. So, why would she argue with someone outside the courthouse? Wow. So Ivy League flight nurse is saying, no, CP said, which I go opposite, but let's just keep going, in my opinion. No, CP said on Clues last night that his mom was arguing with a female outside and he intervened before it turned physical. Oh, really? CBs is that how they are? Oh my gosh. I by accident just deleted a message and did not mean to. Sorry, friends. Hi, Rosalie. We are not talking about the warrant. We are actually going over the update we went over everything that went down yesterday. And then CP went on a panel, showed the subpoena wasn't a criminal warrant. And apparently he went on another panel and he was dissing the reward, allegedly. And that's what made that update come out from AtNIght, saying that they are exploring civil litigation against Katie and Chris Proudfoot for willful misrepresentation affecting the search for Sebastian in defamatory conduct. And then I said, if Peter Hyatt is indeed correct, and KP is the key to what happened and possibly the key to some of this nonsense, allegedly, and you take some civil litigation that stops that, then maybe we'll see everything else go away, in my opinion, right? So anyway, there was some sort of a fight in the parking lot. No idea. People were filming it, so I'm sure by now we'll get to see it eventually. Hello, Poppy Love. Hello, everyone. Hi, Rosalie. So we were talking about that, and now we are reading something that says, in Tennessee, what to do if your child goes missing. And I think that's important for us to read. Now, yesterday we got a little giggle out of it because we were reading in Tennessee, contempt of court, the fine is $10. So we did get a little kick out of that. So let's see what you're supposed to do in Tennessee if you have a missing child. Thank you all for being here. I thought I was opening up a Coke Zero, and I opened up a root beer zero, and it surprised me. Tennessee law enforcement treats missing child cases with urgency. And we do remember the search for Sebastian was well equipped. They did a great job. Things just fell apart a little bit after that, and that things got messy, and we don't understand why, right? But the search was fabulous. Tennessee law enforcement treats missing children cases with urgency. And I think perhaps law enforcement has been built, they have mountains of evidence, is what Tony and Seth say. And I believe that if that's the case, which they're saying it is, that they've been working on this stuff, trying to tiptoe around the fact that they have relationships, right? So, it's tricky. And hopefully that mountain of evidence is going to bring these people in. But I do believe, in my opinion, that as high profile as this is, something needs to come down. Okay. That's just my opinion. I do believe that they need to arrest someone. Now, whether the grand jury met in March or February and has indicted someone, or March, or they're meeting next week regarding Sebastian, that would be great, wouldn't it? But we don't know because the grand jury is secret. Okay. But when you have a reporting missing child, you are supposed to, they act immediately. Parents or guardians contact local authorities immediately, as law enforcement must accept and document the missing child report without any waiting period under Tennessee code. Call 911 or the local police department to initiate an investigation. Officers will gather key details such as the child's physical description, last known location, and any relevant persons of interest. And so that's really interesting because they've never had any persons of interest that they've mentioned, right? They've never had any persons of interest that they asked the public to identify. There've never been anything like that coming forth from law enforcement. Okay. They've never said, here's who we're looking for. This is the profile of the people we're looking for. None of the above. So what does that mean? I don't know. Does it mean they know who their suspects are? They don't need to release it. They absolutely don't want to release it. It could mean they know, and I do, in my heart of hearts, form your own opinions, believe they know. Officers will gather key details. Once a report is filed, law enforcement enters the child's information into the NCIC. Sebastian indeed is entered in there, which is a nationwide system for tracking missing persons. Tennessee law also requires officers to notify the TBI if the missing child is under 21. So Tennessee law, if you have a missing child, you immediately need to notify TBI if the child is under 21, ensuring that state resources are utilized. Now, many of you followed Summer Wells, and we learned then that TBI is the team, the agency that established the Amber Alert for Tennessee. They established the criteria. And not only did they establish the criteria, they are the ones who issue an Amber Alert. They are the ones who approve it and issue it. Okay. So Tennessee law also requires officers to notify TBI if the missing child is under 21, ensuring state resources are utilized. Now watch. Parents should provide recent photographs, medical records, and custody documents to assist in the search. So I wonder if medical records were provided. Recent weren't really, but they came out later. custody documents. So they use all of that to assist in a search. Now I'm gonna stop there. We'll talk about CPS after I finish my interview with my CPS investigator. And then I will bring that to you. And it's not going to be tonight like I had hoped, because I hadn't had a chance to call her yesterday. But I just need like one more phone call with her, then type up my notes, send them to her for approval, and I will have the interview with the CPS investigator so we can learn a little bit about processes. One thing I will tell you is CP made a statement once that every child who's missing, CPS opens a report on. That is absolutely not true. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's role. Now let's look at this and see how it's worked into Sebastian's case. TBI provides specialized resources beyond what local law enforcement can offer. As the state's lead agency for missing child cases, the TBI coordinates searches, analyzes digital evidence, and assists in locating suspects. Okay. It has ability to intervene in cases involving foul play or when local agencies require additional expertise. Did you hear that? Foul play. The TBI manages the Missing Children Clearinghouse, which ensures information is shared across law enforcement agencies to increase the chances of recovery. Experts analyze phone records, social media activity, and that also means that they identify numerous accounts if someone has one. Like if someone has numerous social media accounts, that's a red flag to them. Okay. And if they're analyzing phone records, I hope that they were going by normal behavior, because remember, we discussed the rule of normal behavior, the law of normal. So I would like to know if before and leading up to the night of February 25th, how many 2.5-hour Sunday night phone calls or nightly phone calls CP and KP had together in the month of February, because allegedly he was never home. And how many since then have they had? Since they're going over phone records and surveillance footage for leads. And I know that law enforcement has not verified that they have any footage. Okay. But I do believe in the audio and the video that has come out. Okay. The video of the backyard of someone looking like someone's carrying, and the audios. Okay. If a child is taken across state lines, hold on 1 second, I have to write something. If a child is taken across state lines, the TBI collaborates with federal agencies like the FBI and U.S. Marshals Service, as well as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Okay, now, the Marshals Service is not involved. Okay, now, that doesn't mean they don't think he was taken across state lines. It means they don't know where Sebastian is. Okay. So it doesn't mean he's in Tennessee, because the U.S. Marshals Service is not involved, is what I'm trying to clarify. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm reading some of your comments. You don't think there's any fear, Amy? Hi, SI officer. How are you? Hi, Castle, senior K9 mom. Thank you all for being here. We went over yesterday, all the events of yesterday. It was kind of a popping on the streets yesterday. So we went over everything that occurred yesterday. We read AtNIght's update again. We discussed what the purpose of a reward is, and that is to renew media interest, to motivate individuals to call in leads, and they help solve cases. So our questioning is, why would a parent or a step parent not want to renew media interest, not want to motivate individuals to call in leads, and not want to help solve the case by minimizing the reward, right? Hello, everyone coming in. So we talked about that a little bit. Then we talked about what it means, willful misrepresentation, and that Sebastian has a civil right to be searched for without misleading or obstruction going into that search. Willful misrepresentation, defamation is what they are going, and affecting the search is what they are exploring litigation for. Then we went on SF's has a page. Oh, I didn't take you to his page yet. He has a page where he discusses, the flip side of rewards. And we talked about, well, they hired a PI who doesn't believe in rewards, and that aligns with what they didn't want, allegedly, in my opinion, was the renewing of the media interest, motivating people to call in leads, and helping solve the case. Now, I think Robin says they were on camera from the courthouse. Okay. Kelly G, I don't know. I saw that on X today too. Yes, SI officer, we need someone to speak up and tell us where he is. So then that leads me right to my next statement. Many people noticed the CP's tone of voice when he called in somewhere explaining the subpoena. Many noticed his voice seemed a little different, nervous. Then we have a sheriff. He admitted a sheriff showed up at his home yesterday morning. He had to go to the courthouse. Then there's a ruckus in the parking lot. So do you think pressure is building? Do you think pressure is building? Do you think fear is raising? Did that sheriff knocking at the door for a subpoena, that if it's just a subpoena, anyone could have sought process served to them? Was it a statement from the sheriff that we'll knock on your door? Anyone could have served a subpoena, right? So this is all alleged, yes. Yes. Carrie Starr says, just like I said, they saw that 3 a.m. flashlight video way clearer than the cell phone filmed one we saw that triggered the Amber Alert day 2. Amen. I agree. The Amber Alert, in my opinion, was triggered because out at the command post and wherever they were, all the stuff I've told you about, the rumblings that many people overheard that were around there, they did see early on and knew early on that a 3 a.m. car was in the neighborhood and that it was not some random kidnapper who came up and took Sebastian out of the home. Okay. And when that Amber Alert is sounded, that means you've got an abduction. So they knew a lot in the beginning. And I do believe that if they had to go forth circumstantially, that they would. Okay. I do. But they need a strong case, you all. And that's the thing, because we don't have Sebastian. We don't know where Sebastian is. So they need a strong case. Okay. So that's kind of where we were today. We were just talking about, like, what does it mean when all the, what does a reward do? Why would a parent do this? We don't know. It's red flags, it's sirens, it's confusing, it's question marks, right? And then we were talking about SF, his page of, rewards lead to scammers and this and that. Well, maybe you hire a PI who doesn't want to promote the reward if there's a reason you don't want to promote the reward, allegedly, in my opinion. And that's why I brought that up about SF's page. Now we're following what you're supposed to do in Tennessee if your child goes missing. And this article was written February 25th of 2025, 1 year to the date Sebastian Rogers was last seen leaving the Texas Roadhouse with his mother around 6:24 p.m. Sebastian has not been seen since. We have it from his mother's mouth that she went home with him alone, locked the doors, last saw him when he went to bed, and at 6 a.m. when she woke up, he was not there, and the home was still locked. She also shared with Nancy Grace that only immediate family has keys and codes to access the home, which would allude to me, someone with immediate family most likely could have gotten in or out, correct? She also told Nancy Grace, and Nancy's a wonderful questioner. Nancy kind of roundabout said, well, do the dogs bark? Not at me and Sebastian, but at an intruder? Yeah, a couple bark. But no one barked that night? No. So what do we infer? If the dogs don't bark at Sebastian, the dogs don't bark at KP, but the dogs would bark a little if an intruder came in. But the dogs didn't bark that night. We infer an intruder didn't come in. Correct? Also, if you find out the morning you find out your son is missing on footage that there is a dark silhouette standing in your living room window, standing in the window, and then the lights go out, and you tell your best friend L that the neighbors have on the footage a silhouette in the window in the middle of the night when you're supposed to be home alone in your Operation Blackout all over the home, your child goes missing and you see a silhouette, you mention it to your best friend, but never in 13 and a half months has she said, someone was in my home. They could have taken Sebastian. I'm terrified. It was only me and Sebastian in that home. Who was in the window? None of that ever has been discussed. Just bringing up points, all alleged. In my opinion, you make your own. Let's move on. So, like I told you, Amber Alert is federal, but each state creates their own criteria. In the state of Tennessee, TBI created the criteria for the Amber Alert, and also TBI is the one that approves and issues an Amber Alert. Okay, so let's go here and look at this. Tennessee's Amber Alert system rapidly disseminates information about abducted children to the public. I'm going to repeat that. Tennessee's Amber Alert system rapidly disseminates information about abducted children to the public. Within 24 hours, TBI knew and approved to issue this report because they knew Sebastian had not run away, that he had not left on his own, that he was taken out by someone else. However, not every missing child case qualifies. Law enforcement must confirm that a child under 18 has been abducted unlawfully. Let's repeat it. Law enforcement must confirm that a child under 18 has been abducted unlawfully and is in imminent danger of serious harm or death. So I say, within 24 hours, law enforcement, Sumner County, was able to confirm to TBI that Sebastian, who was under 18, 15 at the time, had been abducted unlawfully. They had to confirm and prove that to TBI before they would issue the Amber Alert. Okay? Good little nuggets, right? Good little pieces here. They have to confirm to TBI they've been abducted unlawfully. How do you think you confirm that? The parents were saying run away. So how could they prove to TBI, well, the parents are saying runaway, but it's not a runaway. He's been abducted. And here is how we know. Perhaps footage? A detailed description of the child, the suspected abductor, and any associated vehicle must also be available. Again, the 3 a.m. car was not included. Why? If they knew early on that he didn't run away and he was abducted, they knew there was a crime and were able to sound that Amber Alert, but they had to confirm it. So they had something to prove Sebastian was not a runaway. And maybe whatever they had to confirm that is part of the probable cause for the landfill search. I'm just throwing things out there. I don't know. I'm wondering. I'm theorizing. If these conditions are met, local law enforcement submits a request to the TBI, which evaluates the case and, if approved, activates the Amber Alert. So when Sumner County realized all those conditions were met, they then requested the Amber Alert. TBI had to evaluate it and approve it. The alert is broadcast through the emergency alert system, wireless emergency alerts, highway message boards, social media, and news outlets. The Tennessee Department of Transportation assists by displaying alerts on digital highway signs, and businesses participating in the Amber Alert Partners Program help spread awareness. And hi, SI officer, and I really just thought you all that's very important. Very important for us to see that criteria. Okay, so they had to confirm that Sebastian was abducted in order to get that Amber Alert. They had to confirm he wasn't a runaway. I love what you're saying here, Tori Banks. Ellie said they don't have any video surveillance of Sebastian walking away from the home. Do you all think Sebastian walked away from the home? I don't. That's why there's no scent from the home. Tori says it's important to what they have actually said. Always notice the wording. It tells a lot. Well, what I see in there is Ellie only said they didn't have any video surveillance of Sebastian walking away from the home. Well, maybe they have video surveillance of Sebastian being carried out of the home. Allegedly, in my opinion. We don't know. We know what we've seen, but they haven't verified that. Thank you, Tori. That's a great comment. Appreciate it. Okay. Hi, Raymond Thomas. So we are going through this because we are looking at. Hi, Harold Bush. I'll catch you all up for a minute for those of you coming in late. We talked about yesterday, sheriff showing up at the Proudfoot's home to give them a subpoena. Anyone can serve a subpoena, including a process server. I think that may have rattled some individuals because on the way to court later in the parking lot, allegedly, there was an argument. Oh, hold on. Let me turn off my phone. It's my brother. He can wait. Sorry. Let me turn that on silent. And I paused the scanner. Sorry. And the scanner's back on. Sorry, I'd paused it. And then after that, there was apparently a little bit of an argument. Not a little bit, a heated argument in the parking lot of the courthouse. Then people were filming it allegedly. Then later on, CP showed us a document because on the dispatch, it said they were serving a criminal warrant to 1008. But CP showed that it was a criminal subpoena, or that it was a subpoena to appear to Bullhorn Betty's April 16th court appearance, court case. And then apparently he went on another panel and was dissing the $447,000 $500,000 reward. And we discussed, why would a parent do that, or a step parent? Because the purpose of a reward is to renew media interest, to motivate individuals to call in leads, and they help solve cases. So why wouldn't a parent want the case solved, to motivate people to call in leads, or to renew media interest? That's suspect in our opinion. Okay. I'm just updating for those just coming in. And then we talked about, oh, let's see here. What else did we talk about, friends? Oh, that SF has a page where he doesn't believe rewards are a good thing. Okay. Well, if you don't want a reward promoted, and you see a page from a private investigator that thinks rewards are not positive, even though the Department of Justice does think they are of great value, that would align with possibly why you would hire that private eye who aligns with your mentality, right? And then we were reading about, now you're caught up, and we are at Tennessee law, what to do if you're missing in Tennessee. And the first thing that we've noticed is you cannot get an Amber Alert in Tennessee unless you have confirmed to TBI that the child has been abducted. So that confirmation to TBI came from Sumner County Sheriff's Office. It comes from local police. So they confirmed. So was that confirmation video footage? I don't know. I'm wondering. And is that why they were able to get it approved and sound the Amber Alert? Okay. Now we're at custody-related disappearances. This is all Tennessee stuff. And I think it's very telling, because if we go back to that Amber Alert stuff, right here, we know that it's only for abducted children. Not every case qualifies, and law enforcement must confirm a child's under 18 has been abducted unlawfully. So Sumner County local law enforcement submits a request to TBI, which evaluates it and approves it and then activates it. Because TBI created the criteria in Tennessee, even though it's federal, each state creates their own criteria. TBI evaluates it when it's sent to them by local law enforcement, approves it and activates it if all the criteria is met. So if they Sumner County confirmed Sebastian had been abducted unlawfully, meaning they knew within 24 hours he was not a runaway, because the Amber Alert was sounded on February 27th for him. Okay. So I think that's very telling to what all law enforcement knew in the first 24 hours. Local law enforcement knew Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers had been abducted unlawfully. And, there's an and, was in imminent danger of serious harm or death. Okay? You are all caught up. We're going to go over this and continue on. And just so you all know, in the update, let me go to you all for a second. Is there anyone in here who has not heard the update from AtNIght calling out CP for trying to minimize the $447,000 reward? And if you want me to read it, put a 1 in. If you don't, put a 2. It is the strongest update we have had yet, in my opinion. A subpoena is not a warrant. However, he said, one thing CP said is anytime you're served something, it's a warrant. Another thing that caught my attention, and I'm glad someone just said that. I will read it right now. Hold on. CP went on a channel yesterday showed the document that he was served to appear. They were served to appear April 16th. And he said, and he was explaining it, and he goes, and of course, since we're local, of course we'll go. That's a red flag to me, in my opinion. Why did he have to bring up he was local? Remember, Peter Hyatt says when they start adding details we didn't ask for. We all thought he was local, right? He lives right there at 1008. Why does he say, and of course, since we're local? In my opinion, he's not local. He's somewhere else, and he was at the house because of the court case. He was in town because of the court case. We're going to read, hi, Michelle, very happy. We're going to read the update together real quick for those just coming in. Let me make sure I have the right one because one of them talks about kidnapping. Okay, good. Okay, we read this last night, hot off the press on our channel. We were going live and it popped up and we were just stunned. Okay, and I'm going to read it again. It is the strongest post. I mean, we've seen strong ones where they, called them out and said, we will not work with, persons of interest and things like that. But this one, wow, boom. Okay. AtNIght responds to, hold on. AtNIght responds to baseless claims by Chris Proudfoot regarding the $447,000 reward for missing teen Sebastian Rogers. And this was yesterday, April 2nd, and it came in at night. Hendersonville, Tennessee.
3497.
We do have the scanner on for Sumner County Sheriff's Office today. AtNIght, in collaboration with Dog the Bounty Hunter, has issued a strong response to recent remarks made by Chris Proudfoot, the alleged stepfather of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian vanished from the Proudfoot residence on February 25th, 2024. Mr. Proudfoot has publicly mocked and belittled the $447,000 reward offered for credible information leading to the recovery of his missing stepson. A reward that exists because of the failure under his roof. That is in bold print. He has called it a joke, in quotes, a remark as outrageous as it is revolting. I agree. Amen, in my opinion. I just can't understand it. Many cannot. Most people with missing children would beg to have this kind of reward. And we have a step parent minimizing it. Allegedly. Let it be crystal clear. So now they're using his language. This reward is real, active, and growing. Backed by Dwayne Dog the Bounty Hunter Chapman, AtNIght, and an expanding coalition of American citizens desperate to find a child who has disappeared on Proudfoot's watch. For a man who has done nothing to advance the search, Mr. Proudfoot has had no hesitation in undermining those who have given everything to it. He and his wife, Katie Proudfoot, have refused to help, rejected direct offers from Dog the Bounty Hunter, lied about their cooperation, and aligned themselves with YouTube disruptors and conspiracy profiteers rather than true investigators, volunteers, or the public. Now they insult the very people searching for their son. Here you go. Buckle up. Boom. AtNIght is actively exploring civil legal options against Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot for their defamatory conduct, willful misrepresentation, and interference with the search for Sebastian. Their repeated lies and coordinated distractions have placed legitimate efforts and the safety of the public in harm's way. And this is in bold. If Sebastian was kidnapped, it means that a predator still lurks in the streets of Sumner County. So I think, just let me pause. I think that statement, Sumner County should come out and let their people know if indeed there's a stranger lurking, or if indeed it's a neighbor lurking, or if indeed it's an alleged family member, or indeed if it's an alleged person they're aware of. But I think they should address it now. If Sebastian was kidnapped, it means that a predator still lurks in the streets of Sumner County. That is not merely negligent, it is dangerous, and we will not tolerate it. Every dollar of this reward represents urgency, action, and the commitment of those who refuse to let a 16-year-old boy vanish without a fight. Amen. Sebastian's Army, Seth Rogers. If the Proudfoots are incapable of supporting this effort, I love that they say that, in my opinion. If the Proudfoots are incapable of supporting this effort, the least they can do is refrain from spreading misinformation. Sebastian is still missing. The reward is real. The stakes are serious. Boom, right, friends? That's something else. Something else, right? So let's keep reading our Tennessee document. I'm just glad they were called out, allegedly. I am glad. That's my opinion. I'm glad. Hi, Factory Girl. Good to see you. Welcome in. Anna, Crochet, Twitch. You know, I'm glad to hear him call them out, because it's what word did they use for it's revolting about the reward, because the world's watching and someone's saying, oh, sorry, you know, it's not $500,000, it's 50K. And it doesn't make sense to anyone. And I'm sure parents who have missing children don't understand it, because they're like, well, we'll take it. You know, we want that for our child. So it's weird, in my opinion. It's odd, in my opinion. And instead of searching, it's doing odd things to stop the search, in my opinion. I wish they would go get them now. Yes, whoever is responsible, and you know who I think so. So let's keep reading our Tennessee document. It already told us within 24 hours, Sumner County had confirmed he was abducted, because they had the Amber Alert sounded. And the only reason they'll do that in Tennessee, TBI will do that, is if you have confirmed with them, that your child is under 18, has been abducted unlawfully, and is in imminent danger of serious harm or death. Okay, that is Tennessee's Amber Alert is for abducted children. Okay, abducted children. So Sumner County, within 24 hours, was able to confirm to TBI that Sebastian was not a runaway, that he was a child under 18 that had been abducted unlawfully and was in imminent danger of serious harm or death, thus a crime occurring. Understand? So it's just, right? Little pieces of nuggets we can learn from these things. How did they confirm it? You tell me. How did they confirm Sebastian was abducted unlawfully? Eyewitness? I think footage. Because I believe the footage from the backyard where it looks like he's being carried. Remember, I showed you the trunk, in my opinion, the window from the other home, all of the above. Okay? I think they had to confirm it. And within 24 hours, they could. And I also think that might be, and I'm just guessing because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an officer, I'm not a judge. I'm just saying maybe that could have been some of the information that was included in the probable cause affidavit to search the landfill. I don't know. Custody-related disappearances. Custody disputes can escalate into illegal parental abductions. Just so you,
Full time out now.
oh, sorry. Just so you know, we have Sumner County Sheriff Office dispatch on my scanner. Okay. So, custody-related disappearances. I think this is important to look through. Custody disputes, and this is what to do if your child goes missing in Tennessee. Custody disputes can escalate into illegal parental abductions. Tennessee law classifies these cases as custodial interference. Under Tennessee Code annotated 39-13-306, it is illegal for a parent or guardian to knowingly remove a child from the custody of the legal guardian in violation of a court order. This includes taking the child out of state without permission or refusing to return them after scheduled visitations. And we know that is so common. Law enforcement's ability to act depends on the specifics of the case. If a parent with their shared custody fails to return a child after visitation, officers may be limited in their response unless a court order explicitly states the return time. However, if a non-custodial parent takes a child in violation of a custody agreement, law enforcement can take immediate action. Courts require clear documentation, such as a certified custody order, to determine if a legal violation has occurred. And as we know, majority of kidnapping cases are familial. 1% are stranger, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Look at Elizabeth Smart taken right out of her bed from a stranger. Many others. Polly Kloss. Adam Walsh taken by a stranger from the mall. So it does happen, but it's very rare. Okay. Did I read that part? Okay. Criminal charges for child abduction. Tennessee law imposes several penalties on those who unlawfully take a child. Under Tennessee Code annotated 39-13-304, kidnapping is defined as unlawfully removing or confining another person, substantially interfering with their liberty. If force, threats, or deception are involved, the charge can be escalated to aggravated kidnapping, a Class B felony punishable by 8 to 30 years in prison and fines up to $25,000. This is Tennessee. Okay, that's for kidnapping, aggravated kidnapping. Now, if they forced, threatened, or deceived someone to come with them, to lure them, okay, it can be escalated to aggravated kidnapping, which is a Class B felony punishable by 8 to 30 years in prison and fines up to $25,000. If the abduction involves a parent violating custody orders, the charge may fall under custodial interference, which can be a Class A misdemeanor or a Class E felony, depending on whether the child was taken out of state. We did learn yesterday. We learned yesterday in Tennessee, contempt of court is a $10 fine, which was kind of funny. A misdemeanor conviction can result in up to 11 months and 29 days in jail. Oh, if the abduction involves a parent violating custody orders. Okay, hold on, guys. They're getting busy. The charge may fall under custodial interference, which can be a Class A misdemeanor or a Class E felony, depending on whether the child was taken out of state. A misdemeanor conviction can result in up to 11 months and 29 days in jail, while a felony conviction carries a sentence of 1 to 6 years. Convicted individuals may also face custody modifications, loss of parental rights, and civil lawsuits. And I'm hoping that when Sebastian is located, And if all goes well and he comes home to Seth, they will, my opinion, sever the rights if one other parent was involved. And I believe, in my opinion, there will be numerous, there could be, Seth would be open to have numerous civil lawsuits at this point. Courts may issue protective orders to prevent further interference, and in extreme cases, parental rights may be terminated. And this is consulting an attorney when you have a missing child. Now, we have two parents who have an attorney. One has exercised her right to plead the fifth. Navigating the legal complexities of a missing child case can be overwhelming. An attorney can assist in filing emergency custody motions, obtaining court orders, and working with law enforcement. If a child has been abducted by a non-custodial parent, legal counsel can petition the court for contempt charges or request custody modifications to prevent future incidents. So they would definitely need legal help if that was the case. For parents wrongfully accused of abduction, legal representation is equally important, okay? And this is interesting. Criminal charges carry serious consequences, and an attorney can present evidence demonstrating lawful custody. So they are saying you need an attorney if you're in that case, because you would have a lot of filings you'd have to make in cases involving interstate abduction. So meaning legal representation is essential because they're going across states for navigating federal law, such as Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act and the Parental Kidnapping Prevention Act, which governs jurisdictional disputes. Whether seeking to recover a missing child or defending against the allegations, legal professionals play a vital role in ensuring the best possible outcome. Okay, so within 24 hours, we do know that it was confirmed that Sebastian had been abducted unlawfully by Sumner County. They brought it to TBI, who evaluated it, approved it, and sounded the alert. Right? Interesting. So in order to do that, in order to confirm that, they had to have some sort of evidence. Hi, Teresa Maddox. So they had high sunset gazing. They had to have something to confirm Sebastian didn't run away, that he was kidnapped. And I believe, in my opinion, it is the footage. Okay, my opinion. You form your own. Okay, so a lot went on yesterday, my friends. A lot going on. Good news is BHB's going to the appellate court. She's out of that Sumner County court. I'm hoping that will help her get all this nonsense taken away. I do not know. Yes, Hong is on X about TL and allegedly about TL and CB, allegedly. Did you learn in my class today about willful misrepresentation? Sassy, thank you. Raise your hands if you learned something today. I do like us to look at those things because it's important. And I also want you to hit the notification bell, because when I come on this evening, I want to discuss, before we get into the exhibits again, if that's what we're going to do, why the card team was not there. Okay? Why the card team was not there. Aww. Sassy gets a star. Jenny Mount learned something. Callie G did. Video footage says a lot, doesn't it? Yes, absolutely. So Gypsy said, Buzz, that wasn't TL per my conversation with her this morning. I don't know. Okay. I didn't think it was, Gypsy. You mean about the argument in the parking lot? I didn't think it was. No. I wasn't even putting that into my head yet. Hi, DJ. Now, remember, CP said like a month in that the card team is on standby, or a few weeks in one of his interviews, yes, that they were on standby. And that's not how they work. They're the Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team. So we're going to get into that. And I am too, Ivy League flight nurse. I am so glad, because that's only fair. You know, high reserve glitching. I don't know. Maybe they did it from a distance. I don't think there is stranger danger, Bet. You know why? He had such a small circle. I mean, is it possible? Absolutely. But I don't believe it is. And the reason being is, whenever I take myself to, was he lured, because I'm a middle school teacher. Those kids have school devices. And regardless, no matter how many firewalls and blocks our IT puts in there, inevitably they'll come into the classroom, grab a laptop and the child, because the child's in a chat group or in somewhere they shouldn't be. They've broken through the firewall. I had one kid for selling for $5 how to break through and things like that. So yes, they know how to get through. So my mind always went to, well, what if? Because you don't know what they do with their school devices, right? Okay. But then I have to go and look at the misrepresentations, the threats, the warnings, the narrative that never stays the same, the locked doors in the evening and the morning, the flashlights in the backyard, things like that. And that takes me away. I have not yet gotten that answer from Seth. And thank you for reminding me. I'm writing it down right now. The clothes from the arcade versus the birthday party, right? Yep. Okay. I will ask him again. He was in the chat that day, but I don't think he answered us. So I will go ahead and ask that, SI. Thank you for reminding me what you were looking for. So everyone, we are going to go ahead and step away for a little bit. Yes, Card Team's FBI. Okay. And I will be doing we will go over their role. Okay. That's our next live. So hit your notification bell. I will open with that. Okay. I will open with that. I know. But you know what, Ivy League? What's interesting is when you're dealing with a narcissist, which in my opinion we are, narcissists have a hard time complimenting anyone but themselves, in my opinion, allegedly. So when certain person said how proud they were that he managed to pull this off without any evidence being found, leaving behind, my head goes to, who are you truly complimenting, in my opinion? Because I've never heard you compliment Sebastian, in my opinion. Oh, yes, let me go. As I said, the arcade and the bowling alley, if you look at everyone's clothes, they have never changed since his birthday. So it is all on the same time. They never was any family day. In my opinion, by the way, is in her opinion. Okay. And that followed up right here. In my opinion, unless Ellie has not released photos, they do have. And I will ask Seth that again. I will send some messages out. DJ said, Jay, did you see the new article about Sebastian? Where is it, DJ? We'll pull it up before we go off. I did not. We've been on here. Let me Google. If you tell me where I can find it, I will see if I have anything. Oh, yes, on NBC, right? NBC News. I will read it to y'all. Yes, there is one. Thank you so much. Let me go to NBC News, Sebastian Rogers. Thank you so much. Try and pull it. Here it is. Okay, let me pull this up for you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, or I would have we were just almost ending. Thank you. This is credit to NBC News. Is it today? Yes, April 3rd, 2024, came out at 8:54 a.m. by Anna Turning. Okay. Did it say Proudfoot? Okay, so it's about KP. Family of Tennessee teen Sebastian Rogers still without answers more than a year after his disappearance. The 15-year-old, who is on the autism spectrum, was not in his bedroom on the morning of February 26, 2024, and has not been since. I wonder when this interview was given. I wonder if this is since Dog and AtNIght came out and said, if you can't manage to get on board or whatever, or if this was before. Katie Proudfoot recalls the evening of, hold on 1 second. Let me make sure this isn't one of my mods. Okay. Got it. Katie Proudfoot recalls the evening of Sunday, February 25th, 2024, as a typical one in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Her 15-year-old son, Sebastian Rogers, got ready for bed around 9:00 p.m., said, "I love you" to his mom and his 2 dogs, and then headed to his bedroom for the night. If you're mods, if you're texting me about stuff, I will look at it as soon as I am off, I promise. And thank you for the things you're poking and researching while we're on here. I appreciate all of you. Her 15-year-old son, Sebastian Rogers, got ready for bed around 9 p.m., said, "I love you" to his mom and his 2 dogs, and then headed to his bedroom for the night. Katie remembers hearing a noise come from Sebastian's room around 10 p.m. "I hollered out to him and he answered me." Katie said, "I didn't think a whole lot of it." About an hour later, Katie went to bed. So now she's in bed at 11, not midnight. About an hour later, Katie went to bed. She had no idea her whole life would be very different in the morning. Monday morning, Katie went to her son's room. "It was about 6 in the morning when I went to wake him up for school," Katie said. "I went in his room and I was like, 'Dude, time to get up.' Normally, he will turn and look, and he didn't. You didn't notice Son slept in bed?" And I realized he wasn't in his bed. Oh, there we go. Katie said. The following moments are every parent's worst nightmare. "I looked everywhere in and around the house and I couldn't find him." Katie said, "I checked his bathroom and he wasn't in there. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he went to the kitchen. Maybe he got up before me." But mind you, to get from KP's bedroom to Sebastian's bedroom, you walk through the kitchen. You're walking right by that kitchen. "Maybe he got up before me. And so I went through the house. And when I didn't see him is when I was starting to panic a little bit," Katie said. "And I ran through literally every area of the house, everywhere. And that's when I really started to panic." Now, one thing that bothers me that's never mentioned in the narrative, there's 2 things. Never mentioned in the narrative is that I grabbed his cell phone to see if he had called his dad called him, or if he was communicating with anyone, because that cell phone allegedly was on the island. That has never been brought up. And also the fact that before you would sound an emergency alarm to 911, I would think you would call the father, who there's 2 places he knows how to get, Culver's in there, right? To the place. So I would have been making the call to the father. Very odd. Okay. And that's when I really started to panic. Katie says she jumped in her car with her window up, in my opinion, allegedly, and began driving around the neighborhood with her window up. Katie also called her husband, Chris, Sebastian's stepfather, who was out of town on a business trip at the time. "It's like terror," Katie told Dateline. What happened? Where did he go? When was Katie on Dateline? I was in my car and I stopped and I asked, is this from a Dateline interview? Okay, hold on. I was in my car and I stopped. I asked one of the ladies walking her dog, and she was like, no, I haven't seen him. And it really like started to kick in at that point, Katie said. Katie says she then headed to Sebastian's school and got on a 3-way call with Chris and the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. By the time she got there, she was told to turn around and head home because law enforcement was headed to their house. It was just like more and more people were coming and everyone was looking, and every time someone came back and they didn't have him, Katie couldn't finish the thought. Sebastian is on the autism spectrum. You wouldn't recognize him as a special needs person just by looking at him, Katie said. He is smart and capable and functional, but he does have areas that he struggles in. And I'm so glad that after a year, she finally clarified that. Katie told Dateline that Sebastian does respond differently in certain situations. He does have that sensory issue with loud noises, specifically like spontaneous ones. So he does avoid sudden loud noises, she said. He also hates bugs and would avoid any area where he saw one. So why were we looking in the woods? Why was she looking in the woods a few months ago? What Sebastian loves is water. He swims like a fish. I think, though, also a child afraid of bugs wouldn't go out in bare feet in the night, but that's just me. Related, as part of Autism Awareness Month, Andrea Canning sits down with a retired police captain who is training first responders on how to best interact with people with autism. So apparently, Kate P's done a Dateline interview. Right. Hi, prayer warrior. She would have seen him in the kitchen. Yes. Right. And if he's afraid of bugs, he would not have gone out in the night in bare feet, trekking through grass and woods and whatever else, right? I never heard her say that either, DJ. That's why I paused. I paused on that because I wonder if that person would come forward if they really exist, allegedly. I never heard her say she talked to a lady walking her dog either. Yeah, I didn't either. And that person could be very important. I wonder when she was on Dateline. Maybe it's got to be upcoming, right? It's got to be upcoming. So lots of interesting stuff we've learned about today. We've explored. Thank you for letting me know that article was out there. We're finally going to get somewhere, in my opinion. Yes, Sassy. And prayers up, boots on the ground, Sebastian's Army. We are Sebastian's Army at gmail.com. If you need flyers or bracelets or a packet, everyone reach out, get your packet, Sebastian Army. Don't forget, you get a packet. So reach out. If you're able to volunteer, they'll let you know how, what they need. Okay. And then also on Seth's channel, Seth R. Rogers, Sebastian's father, in his community posts, he has phone numbers and addresses for everyone, every state, for us to send flyers to, email flyers, snail mail flyers, call, whatever. So he has created he's created a lot of things for us to do, for all of us who sometimes say, what can we be doing right now? Well, Seth has given that to us. And also, we are Sebastian's Army at gmail.com. Ask them what you can do to help. If you need a bracelet, if you need your packet, you need your flyers, get them. Okay. Just look, Facebook Dateline has a Sebastian Rogers episode. Oh my goodness. Hold on. You are the best. Thank you. I hate Facebook just because I forgot my login, to be honest. Dateline. Well, let's see here. Let me just Facebook Dateline. Here we go. Well, oh, they do. But I don't see that it's a, oh, darn it. Hold on. Go back into there. Hold on. Oh, it wants me to, okay, hold on. Let me see something. Okay, I don't see the episode. I see, yeah, it's when I click on what's on Facebook, it gives me the same. I will look for it, y'all, and if there's a Facebook Dateline when I come on tonight, we'll deal with that along with the cart team. Okay, so thank you so much. Austin said I sent the info to NBC in my Xcapade. When you got, she froze up because she sent so many out. Hopefully more networks pick it up. Yay, good job, Austin. Hello, Judy Hosey, April from Illinois, all of you for being here today. We are Sebastian's Army. If I haven't welcomed you personally, you are very, very, very appreciated. And we are going to get off of here. For those of you who received your Crime Time Buzz gifted memberships, be sure you thank the individuals. And I thank Holly, Biva, Malikan, and NJ's for gifting them and growing our family. And don't forget, our reunions are on Saturdays. Austin got the boot from X. We will be back this evening, 8:30 Eastern time. I hope to see you there. I will look for a Facebook episode of Dateline. I'm going to be discussing the cart team for the FBI and also No Body, No Crime in Tennessee is what I want to talk about with you. Okay, so have a great day, and then we'll jump into exhibits too. Have a great day, and I will see you later. Thank you so much, my friends.